that it's just not working. It's not helping us. We're still having budget deficits. So it's not just the revenue stream that we're talking about. We're talking about who's managing or mismanaging the money and what they're doing with it and how and what are the results and what needs to be changed.
You're exactly right. Let me give you a perfect example of this, and it sounds really strange to me anyway. But in 2008, adult-based education, it was over $900,000 cut, nearly $1 million cut proposed for adult-based education.
Yes, sir.
I in my organization, registered adult learners who were students in these programs from around the state. We registered them to vote. And we had them visit the State House on several occasions from the fiscal year 08, from the fall of 2007 until the spring of 2008. We had a big rally at the State House on March 12th that year. And after that, I'd say a month later, we got a $1 million increase. And they said there was no money. But then when they saw registered voters, where did the money come from?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Well,
Yes, sir.
That just shows me that something is going on that's strange up there.
Well, it may be, as Brad Marston said, who incidentally is seeking office for the first time, and he's one of those that wants to go into Beacon Hill and shake things up and change the way things are done and protect our investment in our government. But it seems like, I don't know, how much of the sales tax goes to support programs like adult education?
Well, that's part of the problem. There's such a lack of transparency in how they spend our money.
Yeah.
But half the sales tax goes into the general revenue fund. And I agree with the caller on 2 points they made. One is the importance of adult education, adult literacy, and the great work that they're doing in helping make these people productive members of society.
Where the education system has failed to in years.
Well, true on that. And then the second thing he says that I think people need to recognize is, he said, the legislature is making these decisions.
Right.
I personally think they're the wrong decisions. We can either afford important social safety net programs, education programs like this, or we can afford a bloated, dysfunctional bureaucracy. We can't afford both.
We can't. Nobody can do that.
And you would.
And similarly, the average taxpayer cannot afford to pay Blue Cross Blue Shield or Tufts $5,000 a year for health insurance that doesn't really help you, and then pay 5.95 or 5 point whatever it is income tax on the income, so the government's taking it before they even get the income, and then when they go to the store to buy some shoes for their kid or they buy a pack of cigarettes, the tax on a pack of cigarettes is more than the cigarettes. This is ridiculous.
That's true. Now, a lot of Massachusetts sales tax isn't quite as regressive as most states' sales taxes because we do exempt purchases up to $175. Food is exempted, etc.
Books for you students here on these campuses. There's no sales tax.
But the sales tax is still fundamentally a regressive tax.
Is anybody talking about changing that and putting a tax on all these things and taxing some of these big exempt organizations that are violating IRS rules and are getting involved in political campaigns, especially in the black community? This has happened recently. And they're getting away with being tax exempt, but some of their activities are violating IRS rules.
Well, I think that the fundamental thing we have to go after is, as you're talking about, let's make sure we keep taxes as low as possible. The only way we can do that is by keeping spending as low as possible, not by cutting education, not by cutting social safety net programs, but cutting at the bureaucracy. Perfect example, the state auditor's office. They have 43 auditors. They have 42 supervisors supervising 43 auditors. That's
almost one for each.
Exactly. I was looking at the Commonwealth of Virginia has we have 15% less people than Virginia does, but in government workers labeled general administration, they're not providing a service. They're just part of sort of the bureaucracy, administration. We have 85% more government employees. I think we could probably...
Doing what?
Exactly.
Why can't we cut that and give some of the money to a program like this gentleman, who incidentally, brother, you have another question or comment? We're going to...
Yes, I'm kind of concerned, like your guest, though, because I'm familiar with the State House and working up there for a number of years, but I still don't even know what's going on. I mean, in terms of how the budget works, because the decisions that they make shows me that they really don't know what they're voting on. They have no really insight into what they're doing, or either that they just don't care. And I think if we could have some scrutiny, like you have 42 supervisors for 43 people, it's ridiculous.
That's right.
And how much are they making?
That's right.
And then those same people who are doing the voting, I have these really, what do you call those Cadillac health care plans. And they get all these big pensions when they come out, and that's where the money's going. So we need to revamp the whole thing. But when we do it, we need to learn more about what's going on now. What are they doing? How do they make the decision? What are they deciding on? It's supposed to be a democracy and an open government, and they find ways to keep things from us.
Well, brother, what I would suggest you do is, first of all, and I know you're going to be at the polls first thing on Tuesday, November 2nd, is vote yes on questions 1 and 3. Do some research on 2. Personally, I'm a no on 2. But also, this is a chance to throw some of the bums out. Take a look at who is representing you, especially here in the black community. We only have a few representatives in the State House, but are they really representing us? Where do they stand on some of these issues? Do they want to address the waste and mismanagement that's going on and help us keep some of our money in our pockets? Or are they continually supporting more and more increases in taxes, holding us all hostage to the big healthcare companies, health insurance companies, who got us all by the neck right now? And last year they increased their premiums. The state tried to stop it, but eventually they ended up allowing them to increase their premiums. This is going to go on and on and on. We can't continue to pay for all of that.
Right, and I think you need to have them on your show, because I know there's a new, relatively new one, Sonia Chang Diaz. I don't know where she stands on any of this.
Yes, sir.
And
well, I knew where the person whose seat she took stood on it, and that person was attacked in the media and attacked by some of our tax-exempt religious leaders here in the community, and now they're not there anymore.
Right. So I hope you have them on your show, the politicians on your show, before the voting day, and our show like to ask them that question.
Oh, brother, I invited them. I have been inviting Governor Patrick back here since March 26th of 2006, when he felt it was necessary to come in here and talk with Minister General Ahmed, and from that day on, I could never get him back in here, ever.
But some of our state legislators, like Senator Diaz and then some of the other ones in our state reps,
they're all invited. They're all invited to come on in here and talk with Minister General Ahmed. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican. Brad here is running as a Republican for the 8th Suffolk District, which is, what, the Back Bay?
Back Bay, Beacon Hill,
all around
the West End, and Cambridgeport Area 4.
Okay, and I'm not beholden to any particular political party. As you heard...
And I agree with a lot of what he's saying, so I'm glad that you have him on today, and that you do have different sides and points of view on it. It's really important for our community.
Yes, sir.
So I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for calling. 617-373-2657. If you're listening online outside the country and you got issues like this going on where you are, holler black, holler brown, holler whoever. We want to hear from you. 1-617-373-2658. Brad, we got a little PSA that you did here on your website, which is incidentally, you want to tell people where they can find out more about you.
You can find out about me and my campaign at bradmarston.com. From there, we have links to our YouTube account. You can follow me on Twitter. I think I have, certainly from on a state rep basis, I have more Twitter followers than any candidate.
Wow.
I think there are 2 candidates in the entire state that have more followers than I do, and that's Charlie Baker and a guy named Sean Belot, who's running against Barney Frank. So